never understood how the Joker was a scary character. Everyone's like, oh, the Joker's so scary. I was like, and I always think back to when I first met the Joker, which was in the Batman movie. Like, what was his name? The actor? Yeah.
Popeye?
No. Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson.
The golfer?
No, but I just didn't think he was very scary. Like, even when he was played by Heath Ledger, I was like, I don't think he's, like, I think he's just a bad guy in makeup. But
there's a lot of variations of Joker being different styles. He was a mobster, he was just an insane person that just loved to kill. He was a lot of different things.
He was completely evil. If y'all ever read The Killing Joke?
I've never, that's what I'm saying.
So The Killing Joke was actually a movie that you can watch.
Stephen A. Pop tried to watch it.
It's really good.
But you won't read the graphic novel, but it's...
There's so many lines that he crosses.
Oh man.
Like the movies lately just haven't given him like, they've done really well.
I just, like,
it's commercial insanity. It's commercially acceptable insanity.
Like people that like Jared Leto's Joker, I liked it for the part that he was supposed to play. Like he was supposed to be like a mob boss. Like I think he did a good job.
I see it, I actually, thank you.
But nobody sees it. Everybody thinks he's just this client that just likes to destroy things. Which isn't true. He tries to drive other people insane, basically. But I didn't think the movie was as dark as I thought it was going to be. I liked it still. I definitely didn't think it was bad. It was really good.
I thought it was so
Didn't know
cool.
we were doing movie reviews today.
Oh, I was because my pregnancy.
Because of your
announcement.
pregnancy. I see.
Yeah, but that was my exciting news that I got to see the Joker. I went on a date.
I saw that. It was another one. Yes.
And then
You were tearing that night?
I was tearing. We got out of the movie theater and Alyssa and Stevie saw us and Alyssa goes, look, my 2 lesbian moms! And way down and all these people turned around. I was like, no, that's her stepmom! I was like, God,
yeah, so on a joke with another lady, which is your ex-baby daddy.
Ex's baby mama.
Yeah.
Well, she's still her baby mama.
So anyways.
Can't be an ex-baby mama.
You're a baby mama.
So that baby mama.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Welcome to the other side. What's the good, like, space song?
X-Files.
That was creepy.
Thank you.
Was that the hungry?
I love it. It's so adorable.
There's like, I wasn't listening.
When Mr. Burns when Mr. Burns gets up, but he was just really just doped up. Like they thought they'd sing it. And he's all like, yeah.
I like the candles, dude.
How do you do that?
I'm a master noisemaker.
Masturbator.
No. I am the master noisemaker at this time. So we're getting the other video hopefully uploaded. Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes, it should be uploading right now.
So Corey Watson, let's guys give you the shout out.
And I hope you can see this through the darkness.
Let's see this through the darkness.
Hey, what are you doing over there? What's up, Blue?
Hey, he's not even here, and it's gonna be good for him to be on. Should I bring him on?
No, wait.
One doesn't know about Chris Hemsworth.
Oh well, let's introduce you. Let's introduce you. So,
Didn't know we had that kind of budget.
Yeah, no.
oh man, you have no idea.
Well, since we're in a relationship, he does me a favor.
Oh.
He does, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure he does.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey, what? My name is Chris Hemsworth. Nice to meet you.
It's smaller than I thought he'd be.
Yeah. There we go.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, who's this new guy? Hey, who's this new guy we got? What's going on? Got a seance? What's going on? Oh my goodness. Chris, you're so funny. That's why I love you. What's your name again? Baby, we talk about this every episode. It's me. Hello, I'm Chris Hemsworth. Why do you only remember your name, honey? To the point that's all you talk about.
No, you keep going too far back.
Yeah.
No, you're fine. You're fine exactly where you're at.
It's Darin.
But Darin, he scoots back and then he's leaning back like that, and you can't see him.
Oh, I got 99 problems in my back is one.
Alright, bet. Keep going.
Chris.
I had to go pick up Chris.
So, the story behind Chris. Okay.
Basically, Stevie brought him.
Oh, but before we do that, let's introduce Juan.
Oh, yeah.
So people know who the hell we're talking to.
Yeah.
They're all, wait, who are you introducing?
Alright, Juan.
This
So
is,
your introduction, Juan. 2-second intro.
yeah, 2-second intro. Ready, set, go.
My name's Juan.
And I like to, it's like Yo Gabba Gabba. My name is Juan, and I like to beatbox. There you go.
Okay, do it.
Okay, wait, let's start that all over. Okay.
Hello. Welcome to the other side.
Welcome to the other side.
We're starting over. Welcome to the other side.
Okay, so now say
Today we have a special guest.
Now you say.
It's our friend Juan.
My name's Juan, and I like to beatbox. Welcome to the other side.
I promise I'm gonna give you
I think
all
we
the
just
time.
found a new intro.
Yeah. My name is Teresa, and I also like to beatbox.
But she can do that for hours.
Yeah.
I can't do mine. You gotta be there.
Endurance is your talent.
There you go.
That's all he has. He has nothing else to contribute.
Yeah,
You'll
poor
learn
guy.
soon.
It's alright though.
That's alright. The shade make him look nice.
But he's here too with his Men in Black shades.
That's
right. For
yes.
a reason. Tonight we are going to visit the idea of possibly something extraterrestrial. We'll have our different opinions. Teresa, stop.
No, we're
I'm just
we're
kidding.
throwing the music back there.
No, but she'll keep going. Look, that's all the whole time.
That'd be impressive.
I know, right?
Somebody stop it.
Hey, are you
Harley's a
ready?
lucky
Yeah,
guy.
this is one lucky guy.
Alright, Teresa.
So, but anyways, we're gonna go into some of that. Of course, like we said, we'll start out here in Texas. We'll get our opinions out there. Any kind of stories, we might have one here for that reason, and we'll go from there. Is everyone good with that? I am.
You said extraterrestrial?
Or
Aye, aye, Captain
possible
Wiki.
or what? Possibly. I'm not even drinking alcohol, and I'm like,
Right?
possibly.
I'm the only one that has a beard.
That overpop question.
Oh,
Yeah,
Teresa.
yeah, that's what it's polar pop.
That's kind of.
Water down beer.
Yeah. I'm going home.
She's got a hole in her lip.
So let's go back into Texas history. I have history
Teresa's
for
favorite.
Teresa's favorite. And I had read about, at one of my, she loves history. She loves when I talk about history. Actually, in my book that I have about the UFO, like aliens thing from Texas, I actually didn't write the story in my book. I didn't read my book. That we're going somewhere else with this, but that's fine. I'm down with it. So, when do you guys, what year would you guys think the first reported UFO crash was in Texas? 1492. Crash. There was a whole thing.
Like in Texas?
Oh yeah,
Or like
in
before
Texas. And this is really good because you can, I'll tell you in a minute, but what?
1926.
I'm gonna go with 1860.
I'm gonna go with
I'll be
1897.
honest, I don't know how
You're stupid, you just looked it up. It's 1897. Oh
I
my
was-
god, I was
I just
right.
wanted to change my answer to
In Aurora, Texas, which is like,
it's
North of Fort Worth.
Yeah.
It's kind of up into the
It's right
left
there.
of Fort Worth.
It's pretty nothing up there.
Yeah, and
Maybe it was Dave's crash.
Just dirt.
Just dirt. Dirt and
so,
different weather than dirt.
You mean
dirt.
the water?
Water dirt.
so that's like, when was the first flight? 1903.
1903.
So 6 years before the first, like, recorded flight.
So there technically should have been nothing
Right,
flying because that hasn't really been.
right.
There's
So
nothing in
here,
here.
let me just let you know, there was a ship that crashed into Judge Proctor's windmill. That's what happened. Okay, so these people don't have like a way of kind of,
An actual ship.
yes.
Like a spaceship
It says
or
here
a
around
pirate
6 a.m., busted into many pieces, almost completely destroying the UFO and a single inhabitant inside.
Fuck, they found a body?
It's still buried in their cemetery to this day. Someone has stolen the tombstone, but you can actually go to Aurora, Texas, and they've been trying to get that body exhumed for years. And
What is stopping them?
it's the government. Won't let them.
Donald Trump.
Is it like
his
protected?
Area 51.
I don't know how protected it is, considering the fact that the tombstone has been stolen.
I'm sure they have something.
But there is something there.
I'll tell
You
you,
know,
I would
like,
not if that's
something,
something.
or
1903.
I thought it was the first flight.
somebody or something
That's nuts.
watching it.
In fact, they called the alien that they buried a Martian pilot. You want to hear something really interesting? I read in my book.
I want to know.
The first time the word saucer was used to describe a UFO was actually at this incident in West Point in the state of Texas. A flying saucer. They've been used before to like describe things that they would shoot at, like play things or whatever.
Yeah.
But when they just
saucer.
but the saucer terminology comes from the brain knows side of Texas. They said when they saw the pieces, like what was left of the ship or whatever, they saw some hieroglyphics out writing, which they knew what that was back then. And that they took a lot of the pieces of the ship, some pieces when they were cleaning up the wreckage, not really understanding what it was, and threw it in the towns as well. Just kind of like
To get rid of it.
yeah.
Like that.
And now when they test, even to this day, they have a high amount of aluminum on the property.
All over or just in the well?
Just on the whole property. But they haven't been able to go back and find any more pieces that actually survived in the well.
Government probably took it all.
They can't find any pieces. So,
Push the water.
yeah. There are many people that collaborated and said, like, we buried this body, like, it's right here, it's
I bet that body's gone.
in our town cemetery. They're like, it's here, like, throughout the years. And the government's basically saying, no, that never happened. Except that Mr. T.J. Weems, the United States Signal Service Officer and Authority on Astronomy, officially reported that the creature found in the wreckage was a native of the planet Mars. Like, that's what they just said at the time.
Assumed.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they had to assume it's really
Mars, Martian.
at the time, I'm sure that was
They
like
had that. That's all they knew. I guarantee that's
There's
all they
Mars,
knew.
there's
At that
probably
time.
people on there. Let's call them
Yeah.
Mars.
Yeah.
So you can still like look up and see. It was in their newspaper. So the official newspaper paper thing was Aurora, Texas, April 17. About 6 o'clock this morning, the early risers of Aurora were astonished at the sudden appearance of the airship which had been sailing through the country. It was traveling due north and much nearer to the earth than ever before. Evidently, some of this really old print was out of order, for it was making a speed of only 10 or 12 miles an hour and gradually settling towards the earth. It sailed directly over the public square, and when it reached the north part of town, collided with the tower of Judge Proctor's windmill and went to pieces with a terrific explosion, scattering debris over several acres of the ground, wrecking the windmill and water tank, and destroying the judge's flower garden.
But wait,
Very specific.
I have a question.
Okay.
In my head, with their superior technology, even in 1897, how would a windmill destroy a fucking...
No,
Maybe it has a defense
It crashed
mechanism.
into the windmill.
But no, but she
Like it was defective and that's why it was so low to the ground?
Yeah,
Yeah, like something was
Okay,
wrong
like it
with
was
the ship.
crashing.
yes, and it
Yeah.
hit the
Okay, I thought it was like, hey, what's going on? And it's all windmill and I was like, what?
So in that time period, there's no plane.
right.
So as me standing there, knowing that there's nothing would be coming out of the sky, would see that, would freak out. Like,
Right, and they said, and I watched also a documentary on this exact crash, and they said that from reports, it literally went around the town square, like it was going slower and slower. And like the town of Aurora has had many things happen after
Shit
that.
just ran.
And it went around the thing and then went into the judge. It wasn't like, and it was the judges. I don't know.
Like if you think about it, like, wow.
You never know.
It's not even a thought. Like airplane is not even a thought in like two guys' heads that actually did what they're doing, right?
Yeah, the right brothers.
Like,
Well,
it's not even a thought in their head. Like
They
let
got the
alone
first
this
one
whole.
off
You
the
said it was 1902?
1903.
Oh.
It's like
so they're
that's
probably
like 6
kind
years.
of having, and then they have all these like just like these drawings of what people thought it was, and then it was different sketches. I'll put some up on the Instagram so you can see like what it was that they were. Yeah, and so but the idea that they can even say like it was in the air flying, and it was, and then they found a little body, and then even at that point the government was like, nope, it didn't happen. No one, not even the government at 1897 was saying, well, what is it? No, they were like, no, it just didn't happen. Like, so weird. Like, I would think at some point they would have been like, it wasn't new to the government.
Yeah. This is kind of messing with me because like you ever be seeing ancient aliens and stuff, but like to go even further back from that, like people only have like buildings, like they don't have like they have buildings, but they don't have like tools, like modern tools and stuff, like and never seen stuff like that because they're drawing that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Imagine how scared they were.
Yeah, and then I read some other things from other towns and reports when they had seen this, and people were saying it looked like they didn't even know how to describe it, so they were using what they knew at the time. They were like, it was a bale of hay that was glowing in the sky. I mean, it was like literally so, they didn't have...
They had to like relate it to things they knew.
Right, they didn't have like an idea that, oh, it was like a plane, but it was circular or whatever. No, it was like, one person said it looked like multiple
Frisbee
cotton balls,
Did they have frisbees back then?
No, so yeah. So I mean, it was kind of that,
That's crazy, yeah.
it was that sort of thing. Like it was really relative to what they had in front of them.
Did frisbees come from UFOs? Flying
Teresa,
saucers?
can you be our inspector right now? And see
Hey Jamie,
when
look that up.
Jamie, look that up.
when did people start? When did the frisbee start?
Sophie. Hey Sophie, look that up.
When was Frisbees invented?
When was frisbees invented? She even put when was.
Hey, 1897, what?
1898.
Great marketing.
Well, that wasn't the first.
That
That wasn't the first ever UFO sighting. It was just the first reported one in the state of Texas. So
1957. The machine at the Wayome Toy Company.
It's a long
Whammo.
time.
Wayome.
I was like, Whammo.
Whammo Toy Company rolled out the first batch of their aerodynamic plastic discs, now known to millions of fans over the world as Frisbees.
That was kind of, what was it, 1956?
Or Darin.
1957.
Extreme.
Okay, because at that time too,
golf.
the flying disc, the UFO phenomenon was just taking off. Like it was like Cold War, pre-Cold War, and it was after World War II. So there was like we were dealing with like this that we had just defeated the Nazis, and then we're now going into the Russian dynamic. So the idea of like playing with something like a frisbee or a disc for him was like in itself had been a foreign idea. So anyways, that's
pretty good, April.
take on the furthest to get us in there.
So is Aurora so popular as far as internet?
Aurora is a town of 16,000, I believe. It's a
16,000?
it's a small.
50 say 16.
No, it's a small. It is small though. It's still small, and
Yeah, we have like 10 billion.
That's bigger than Bromfield.
it's an agricultural community. It's like I said, north of Fort Worth, to the left.
That's true.
Yeah, it's probably a ton of land. Probably a ton of land.
So it's still a small town, and they still have a lot of things. December, was it 2008? January 2008 was a big sighting that like triangulated to where MUFON was involved, and MUFON came out and the people that
Investigation, UFO investigation.
yeah, they're UFO investigators, but they're like official, and they have to have like A, B, C, D, all these boxes checked to call it an official UFO sighting. So
This sounds fake to me.
no, it's real, and then you have to take a huge test.
What
to even
is
be part
what
of
is
it.
their officials?
What gives them
spec?
authority?
Like what
Their knowledge,
specification?
and you have to take this huge long test to even be considered for MUFON. You get like they have like different levels of sightings, and if there's physical evidence and all that, because the government's not doing it. So in 2008 in Aurora, in the area around Aurora,
Do you get a degree in this? Like
no,
what do
no, you
So
live,
you become a pastor.
no, I don't know. Why don't you be a pastor?
You get a certificate and stuff.
What? That's not, you get a certificate for being
Are
a
you
teacher. That
ordained?
doesn't make me a pastor.
Can you marry the
I
Martian?
mean-
So are you a teacher?
So, but yeah, MUFON like came out and they like had they like send people on site, and that if we were doing an investigation, we said, oh, we saw this, this, or that, and we reported it to MUFON. They would say, okay, well, how many people? They kind of gave reports, and actually January of 2008, there was 3 reports of UFOs here in San Antonio at the same time that they were getting reports over there. So they were using these measurements to triangulate the 3 sightings that would make it official, even with video recording and all that. It wasn't enough. They recreate what they see on film, and if it's too close to what's on film, they don't even take that as credible evidence. It has to be like legitimately unexplainable. And so there was a few things where this lady her livestock was disappearing, and then like the ducks' beaks were just floating in the pond of her land. So she thought there was some sort of, oh, it's horrible.
Well, that one side, not the sighting, but the occurrences where they were stealing the cows
Yeah.
almost every night. One of the biggest fucking
Yeah.
occurrences with aliens.
Well, so
I forget
in
exactly
this
what it is.
particular incident, this lady was, I think, like 57 miles outside of Aurora, like away, and so she thought there was some sort of like rowdy predator on her land doing this to her animals. So she set up a camera trying to catch the predator,
Yeah, of course.
and comes up with this like unbelievable, like it's not so clear because we think 2008 was like yesterday, but really, hello, that was 11 years ago, and even then. But our camera catches this beam of light, and it's unexplainable. It's not touching the ground, and we can't figure it out. And then like 20 miles that way, these girls are like, we saw a beam of light. It wasn't touching the ground. It was right in front of us. Like everything they just caught on film, they were describing. So there's all kinds of things that, I mean,
I don't know. I've always been a little skeptical of that stuff, but that for me, like to say aliens exist kind of goes against like. I guess like my religion, but I still like to humor the idea of like aliens being a possibility. But seeing the videos and stuff, I don't know. You can fake the videos so much now these days.
How would it go against your religion?
That's what
I'm
I'm
not trying to start an argument. I really just want to know.
God made us in His image, right? Us on earth. I mean, to say that we're the only ones that He created in this universe, but I don't know. I guess to say like go against my religion. Not what I meant. But kind of the idea of like there's humans and then there's demons, there's angels, there's God, you know?
well, I think that's what I always go back to, because I'm like, if I reading the Bible, not one time is there a full description of an angel. I have no idea what it is like.
Whenever an angel appears to people, it always says, "Do not be afraid."
Right,
In my
but-
head, I'm like, they must be terrified.
Right, so they
No,
say do not be
yeah, no,
afraid.
seriously.
If that's the first thing I'm gonna tell someone, it's because I'm mangled or something. I don't know. It's something
Yeah, you
that's
don't
so
have to
yeah.
explain it.
So for me, I'm like, that to me alone means we have no idea the spectrum of creatures. There's things in our own ocean that we cannot imagine what they look like because they've never been seen. So, and throughout the Bible too, these things are very selectively shown to people. They weren't just shown
Yeah.
to everybody all the time. You know, and it's, you know. So if you wanna, Juan, we'll let you go ahead and take over from here because I think you've got some stuff we can go with. If you wanna.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like we gave up a really good argument or like talk. So I feel like me coming out of way left field is gonna be a little hard. But so I'm a Christian, been studying the Bible, and I try not to get too crazy because I mean you could like I don't know become obsessed with anything from me, babies to water bottles and beer, whatever. But Does anybody here at the table know why the earth flooded? Genesis 6, Noah, the great flood.
Because the whole world was evil.
The whole
Everybody was just evil.
But do you know like why specifically? Or like any specific
Like
detail?
how it happened, or
Like there's like a specific reason why it happened.
He wanted to reset life, right?
So, I feel like we have to kind of go into like prophecy and like even
That's
before
fine, that's
Genesis-
cool. Yeah, go
Genesis
ahead.
6 and Genesis 3, we find out about like the man, the woman, the serpent, they all get caught. And God kind of gives like the wrath. And he's like, man's going to have to work. Like the fields are going to be tough. You're going to sweat by your brow. The woman's going to have to labor. And then he looks at the serpent, which you understand to be the devil. Or, you know, the evil one, or the one trying to tempt us. And he explains, or he like basically tells like one of the first prophecies of Jesus. And he says like, you will, like by the seed of the woman. So like seed is usually of a man, but the seed of a woman is even prophesying a virgin birth. And from there it also goes into the fact that
I was just listening to this today. That's so funny that you said that. I was listening to this
That's so cool.
about the seed of the woman. And anyways, go ahead. I'm not gonna review.
So then it says like, you will bruise his heel, but he shall crush your head. So in the movie The Passion of the Christ, you kind of see that. Like I think there's like a scene specifically where he steps on a snake, and that's just kind of like a fun little thing to be like, this is a prophecy.
Yeah.
That like you're gonna hurt him, he's gonna be battered, beaten, crucified, but when he rises from the dead, he's going to beat sin, beat death, right? But he's given this prophecy to the very first man and woman. So we kind of got to go back like so many thousands of years, whatever you believe as far as time. So, time of Moses. So I'm going to read two different versions real quick. And it says, because people say the Bible is unreliable because of versions, but even being Spanish speakers here at the table, there's words that are tough to explain for English Spanish. Like the word empalagar. It means to be too sweet, to be too much, to be overbearing. But you can't really say like the one word.
Right.
You know, so it's hard to do that from like Greek, Hebrew, all that good stuff. So I'm gonna start in 2, and I'm gonna read King James and NLT. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they were fair, and they took them as wives as which they chose. Literally in the NLT it says, and they took any that they wanted as their wives. 3 it says in the King James, the Lord said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for he is flesh, and yet his days shall be 120 years. So all these crazy 900, 800, God numbers them in the time of Noah. Those verses are kind of the same, but this is the important one. King James says, there were giants in the days of the earth, and that when the sons of God came into the daughters of men, they bore children, and they became mighty men, which are old men of renown. In the NLT it says, in those days, and sometime after, giant Nephilim or Nephilites lived on the earth. For wherever the sons of God had intercourse with women, they gave birth to children who became the heroes and famous warriors of ancient times. So the fact that he flooded the earth was because there literally were like half human, half like demon people. They were giants. And this is all part of like the devil's plan, so that there cannot be a pure lineage through a virgin birth. He's literally trying to infect all these people to make God a liar.
Right.
And God could just have wiped everybody. He could have just wiped the slate clean, but that's not his character. So you go on to other parts, and you can literally Google it and find the verses. But like David and Goliath was given a height of so many. Yeah, he was like 9 feet, so many inches. And there's another verse in Numbers that talks about when they try to infiltrate a certain land. It says that they were like grasshoppers before the sight of these giants.
Like they were huge people.
Like they were
people though. They weren't necessarily just. I know what they're saying. I just listened to it. I was doing something.
So
it's just so weird.
Yeah, it's like, insane. But if you think about it, just like how we talked, like Darin brought up a good point of like never seeing a plane of any primitive sort, anything that can fly except like birds, and then all of a sudden this huge like, flying saucer is literally flying around the town and crashes into judges like wind. Yeah. Like that's insane. But the fact that there could have been angels that hated God, that were fallen, and when they came and they showed themselves to men who were already fallen away, they probably honored them as gods because these beings understood more, had seen more. So can you imagine, like even Egypt, that's always portrayed as the enemies of God. In the times of Moses, when he does all the miracles, you know, like the Prince of Egypt, we've probably all seen that movie. But in Scripture, it says that those like magicians, they do all of those miracles as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Toe to toe.
Toe to
Yeah,
toe.
they're doing all of them, and God has to come back and be like, you know what? Forget that. We got, we got to go.
Let me show you something.
Yeah.
Hold my beer.
Yeah. No, seriously. That's the thing. Like, first of all, I listened to another podcast. We all do, actually, pretty much. And they're so, one of them's an open, like, devil worshiper, whatever. But even him in that podcast, they're like, the Bible, if you don't believe, if you are not a believer, if nothing else, is the most metal book you'll ever read. And they agree on that podcast too. There's so much stuff that you can read that you everyone that thinks the Bible's boring, I'm not here to just like push. It is like so much scandal. So much. It is like the craziest book. You open it up and you start reading and you're like,
she did what?
What are you talking about? Like, how did that happen? And I was just talking last weekend about reading different versions. We were talking about the importance of reading different versions because so many different things. I love the King James because the words are so old. And to me, like, it's so interesting how they will word certain things. But it's true. Like, you read, you have to think, like, these beings had more, these giants obviously would have had more knowledge. And giving that knowledge to others or to show a glimmer of what their even technology, quoting.
What we consider their technology,
Yeah, well, I mean.
No, I'm saying like what your technology, or what at the time was considered technology for them.
But that is also an undermining thing. It's like to say, look, we have this, you don't have it, why don't you have it? It's that whole lie of, he doesn't want you to be like him.
But that makes me think that because there's giants and stuff like that, there's probably other creatures or aliens or whatever you want to call it. Like there's probably other things exist that you don't regularly see, maybe they're just hidden.
Or they're right in front of us. Because if you think about it, a sighting in 2008, I was 28 years old. I know what it was a long time ago. No, but I mean, so you think about it. I've seen planes, I've seen documentaries, I've seen everything that shouldn't exist and things that should exist. So if people in San Antonio, where I live in the city, were seeing these things, it was happening right above my head, and I just, you're not aware, and that could be with anything. Like that goes with miracles, that goes with tragedies, anything, that can just go back to helping your neighbor on the street, like walking by the homeless guy not thinking about it twice. But these phenomena are happening. But what are they? Yeah, seriously. As a matter of fact, after I watched that documentary and I realized what the time frame was, I was like, I stood outside and I was like, what am I not seeing?
I got 5 beers if y'all want.
Like what am I oblivious to? How much of my life is like.
What I'm scared that one day that I'm gonna be driving on the highway, just going on a trip or something somewhere, and I'm gonna see cars like lined up on the side of the road, just people like looking up, and I'll be like, I feel like I would just keep driving. Like I think it's gonna be good.
That happened to me once.
Really? What happened?
Me and Carlos were driving on Old Verde Road. It was before they built the HEB, and we're driving.
Over there?
Right up the street.
Oh, wow.
And I was driving, and I was taking him home, and all of a sudden we both kind of like looked up over to the right or to the left, and then there was this light, and it was blue, boom, boom. It wasn't
like a pulsating.
Yeah, and it was boom, 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 and it was not lightning. It was circular, and it was blue, and I was like, my legs. I couldn't, because.
Yeah, she's terrified of aliens.
Terrified.
Like you wouldn't even joke about it because.
It's like if Alyssa's driving and she sees something and like everyone knows, do not go, what's that? Yeah, just shut. I mean, I get furious because my body turns
just like, you probably almost react, right?
Yeah, and one time Alyssa did that to me. We were taking the turn on Horseback Parkway on Wetmore, and I was like, "Don't break into that!"
Okay, so what was it outcome of it? Tell us, finish the story. You saw the light and then what?
And I got scared. Right?
But what happened to it?
I don't know.
Like a drop.
Did you?
It
I peed a little.
Just a drop.
Did it like zoom up? Did it zoom away? Like
It zoomed up, and that was it.
okay, so you know one of my favorite things, and I don't know what you think about them because I know you've seen them. I made her go out and see
That
them.
wasn't my only time.
I was gonna go to the Marfa Lights.
I want to go see that.
I've seen them multiple times. I've seen them. No, it's not. I've seen them multiple times, and I considering that there's a placard there from like the early 1800s. There have been people that have walked out to like see them, and they can't source them. Scientists from all over the world have gone and tried to do that.
I bet she was just a pile of like gems that the sun.
No, they said that it's.
Have you seen
Pile
them?
of jizz.
You've seen them, right?
Gem.
Have you seen them?
I've actually never seen the Marfa Lights.
Okay.
You've been to what? You've been.
I've been to Marfa. We went to Marfa.
We lost an hour.
At 2 in the morning.
The best
What do
time
you
to
mean
see them
you
is
lost
at
an hour?
dusk.
We'll tell you this story in a little bit.
The best time is like at dusk, and when
Yeah.
it's colder out, it's even
We saw
better.
a meteor shower, so that was cool.
So when you go out there and you're at the observation tower, you can, and it's not that far from where the lights start coming out. I mean, it's you can walk there in 10 minutes probably to go out to where the lights are. But and I think it's kind of the same thing because when they started seeing these lights, it was well before there was a highway there and vehicle traffic that they're saying is a reflection and gases and all that. And they can't source any gas. There's no gas source out there. So the state of Texas basically just said, we don't know what it is. Here's a plaque.
Put a placard.
We can't figure it out. We're going to do it.
But the thing that really creeps me out is that it's not like, oh, well, let me walk over there and see what's causing that light. You can't, and it says on the placard that if you walk over there, you can't see anything. There's nothing.
And the thing
there.
is like, so like when I first saw him, I was like, okay, what's happening? Because it was like all of a sudden out of the blue, like you're just staring into nothing. The sun is still up.
I was dark.
And
you start seeing light.
All of a sudden, like out way in the distance, you see like a little thing kind of like pulsate, blah, 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 and like it just opens up. And then it's just sitting there, and it's like kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll go away, and then it'll come back a different color. But then when this comes back, one higher comes over here, pulsates and disappears. And then all of a sudden they're kind of everywhere. And then instead of just sitting there, so I'm like, okay, someone's out there with a flashlight.
Right.
Then all of a sudden one will be like, shoo! And then one will go like straight up. And then it's like they just, and it's like,
They do whatever they want.
So do you think maybe it's like
and it happens
almost
for
like
hours.
not a time portal, but like a portal
I don't
to where we're seeing the other side of
The other side.
The other side.
You did it. You did the thing.
Yeah, I did the thing. when you see but you're seeing like what they're seeing.
Yeah.
And what if they're seeing the same shit on our
Maybe
side?
we
on
look
their
like
side?
lights to
Well,
them.
that goes back to the dimension thing that I was talking about.
They see all these people just looking, going like this.
I don't know what to do. But yeah, we lost an hour at Marfa.
Yeah, how
What's
did
up with that?
I don't know. We were traveling.
I remember you
Did you
telling
check
me
yourself
about
for
that.
chips? Like,
I gotta tell you what happened to me and Marfa. You tell me first.
Okay, so me and Juan and 2 other guys that we were good friends with, we decided to go Big Ben, but we had to wait for people to get out of work, so we left at 7 at night, which is a terrible idea. It takes 6 hours to get there, and then another hour to get where we need to the park, so that's 7 hours. We took a stop in Sonora to get some gas, and while we were there, we were like, hey, let's go to Marfa. It's like an hour off the trip here, right?
Where are you gonna take our time anyway? Yeah.
So, driving to Marfa, we were there for 2 hours, came back. That was like, so the whole trip to Marfa was like hour to Marfa, 2 hours, came back, it's 4 hours, right? Yeah. And then we get there it's not far from Marfa, Big Ben's not
Yeah,
far
not at all.
from Marfa. We get there at 7 in the morning. We left at 7 at night. We get there at 7 in the morning, right? And if you take the time that it took us to get there, Marfa and everything, it only adds up to like 11 hours. It's like 10 hours and like 30-something minutes to get to the second train. Twice. And we don't know. And in my head, I was like, is it mountain time? But we're not technically in
No, you get to
mountain
change
time
time.
until we go to the other half of the park. And so we don't know. But Mom was actually the only one that was awake the whole time. I fell asleep the final hour, but we were both like out of it.
Delirious.
Not
Because
delirious. Well, I was.
let me tell you. Okay, let me tell you. Me and Oscar did that when we went to Nebraska, and we like legit were delirious. Like we hadn't slept. We were awake the whole time. Like we were just out of it. Like we were sitting at the Denny's table. Both of us started cracking up for no reason. Like we did nothing. We just looked at each other and started laughing, and we couldn't stop laughing. And I was like, "Dude, what is wrong with us? Like, we need to sleep." Like we were just
I pulled over. I don't think you remember this. I pulled over because I was like, I stopped, dude. I braked hard, and he like looked at me. He's like, "All right." I said, "Did I get it?" He's like, "Yeah, what?" I said, "Grab it." He's like,
Wait till you hear my story then.
and I was like,
I'm getting
"All
chills
right."
right now.
I pulled over. I was
I'm
like,
getting
"Dude,
chills. Are you getting
yes,
chills? Wait till you hear my. She's getting chills because let me tell you what happened to me and Marfa.
Okay.
I went the night before, so I was already in Fort
I say just real quick, I would usually call bullshit on this if she hadn't told me this story when it fucking happened.
And now what you just told me, I got chills because listen to this.
I've never heard this story.
Okay, so
now you get chills
I was
from that door opening.
Yeah.
And closing.
a little monster.
Hold on. Let's take a break
Yeah,
for
let's
a
take a
second.
break. Commercial break. I'm
Commercial
gonna go
break.
potty. And
Yeah, commercial
I
break
literally,
because
like, got
this is a teaser. This is a teaser.
sorry, Juan.
No
I got chills.
Come back. Join us.
Is that a like good? I think I can honestly use the word shook right now for the first time in my life.
Shook it.
It's alright.
Was there anything else on Saturday?
Shake it up.
One thing.
Boom, boom. Shake it up.
I know.
Our photographer, he wants to do pictures on Saturday night. What?
Boy, I got you.
And we're back.
Hello.
We're back from our little break from April's pee break. From everything. And shout out to Miller High Life, which was established in 1943.
It's on the beer. It's on the can.
The champagne of beers.
The champagne.
Shout out to Big Drizzo, the champagne of beers, witching. You know what I'm talking about.
So back to Marfa.
Back to Marfa.
So here's why I got like, what are you talking about when you talk about it? And that's why she's like covered her face in fear.
I've never been sorry, so.
Okay, so here's what happens. I had gone specifically to see the Marfa Lights and then go into Fort Davis. So Friday I went up there, stayed the night in Fort Stockton. I was traveling with someone, and we got up not too early the next morning. We kind of took our time in Fort Stockton, ate some food, completely rested, no big deal. And I'm like, let's just go see the fort. Let's go see the fort first. So we go see the fort, and we kind of walk around there. We don't do anything crazy. We didn't go on a hike or anything. We literally went to see the fort. And then got back in the truck, and I was like, well, we can head out to Marfa after we were going to eat.
Super close,
Yeah, we'll head out to Marfa from here. So we head out to Marfa, and literally got there. It was early. It was probably like 5 or whatever. And we were like, we're just gonna sit here. We didn't drive anywhere. We didn't do anything. I had the truck. It was nice and cool outside. It was like December.
On a night like tonight.
No, it was actually beautiful, like clear, no moon. So we were super excited that the lights were gonna be like totally clear. So there's that station, that big observatory out there. I don't know if you've ever not been to Marfa. It's this giant like restroom area. It's circular, adobe, red with like low lights because that's also a
Great acoustics.
yeah, sky pollution area. So they can't have lights out there.
Did you yodel out there? Yodel, hee-hoo.
Found a corner and beatboxing it.
That's
Nice.
cool.
That's pretty awesome.
Nothing like a good corner for beatboxing.
What happened?
So anyways, we're in the truck. We're getting kind of bored, so I got my pillow, kind of closed my eyes a little bit. And open my eyes, still daylight, but at dusk. So now it's like the prime time to see the Marfa Lights. But there's still sunshine. So I'm sitting there and I'm looking out my truck, And I just see this lady, and she looks like this sweet old lady. She's running my Aunt Rosie. And there's a tree, I'm parked like right in front of a tree. And she's like, just sitting there with these two little kids, like in this big blanket, like wrapped up or whatever. And I'm like kind of smiling, looking at them. I get out of my truck, and we go look at the observatory. I'm out the lights. We're sitting there looking at it for a while. And the person I'm traveling with was like, I want to stay out here. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go back to the truck. So I go back to the truck, and I'm just sitting there, and there's still some like residual lighting from the center, and I can see enough in front of my truck. I can still see the tree. And I'm like, dude, that lady has been there all day. Like, she's just chilling. These kids are like so well behaved. You know, I'm thinking. And so I kind of just sit there and close my eyes, and he comes to the truck, and I see the lady, but I start my truck, I turn the light, so I click on the lights back up, and I don't see her. And I'm like, wait. And I literally like turn my lights back off, and I see one of the kids run out, like just run off into the distance, and I'm like, I didn't say anything at first. I was like, what the hell? I'm seeing this lady. And so finally...
Did your boy see it too?
I didn't say anything.
Oh.
So, at that moment. So then he's like, oh, you know what, before we leave, because we have to drive, we're driving back to Fort Stockton at that point. And he's like, you know what, I don't mind, we're going to drive to Balmaray. And he goes, you know, I'm going to go to the restroom real quick. I know I didn't go. I was like, okay, cool. I'm kind of like, so like, I turn the headlights off, and there they are. Like, and I'm literally like this. I'm like opening my eyes, squinting them, blinking them hard. And I'm like, I'm not tired, I'm not drunk, I'm not high. I don't want to be high, but you know, none of that. So I was like, what the hell is going on right now? So he gets back in the truck, and I'm like, dude, do you see that lady in front of the tree? He's like, no. And I'm like, okay, then never mind. I'm just messing around. Like, something's wrong with me. So I pull out into the road, and I start driving. And all of a sudden, with my headlights on, as clear as I see y'all, I will never forget this. I slam on my brakes. And he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, how the am I supposed to get around that tree? And he's like, you're freaking me out. And I was like, you're freaking me out. My headlights are on this huge tree. And I'm like, how do you not see that tree? And he's like, dude, I'm driving. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, fine, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. I'm just gonna drive into the tree. He's like, there's no fucking tree. And I was like, okay. I remember like literally
preparing for impact.
Yes. I kept one foot on my brake, I gunned the gas, let my foot off the brake, and just thought we're crashing. And there was no tree. So I'm driving, because I'm like, well, maybe I'm going crazy because he didn't see the old lady. And as we're driving, I started seeing animals on the side of the road. I saw like a fox, but it would be like a fox in the headlight coming up. And I would just look at it, and then by the time I got there, it was something else. And it was like a vulture. Or it happened like 4 or 5 times. And finally when it was a pack of hogs, wild hogs, I was like, screw this. I paused and said, you are driving. I was like, I'm tired. I was like, look, there is a freaking vulture right there. And he's like, no, there's not. Like, we're arguing at this point. So finally I'm like, I pull over. I'm like, there's a pack of freaking hogs. Pull out. I get out. And he's like, what the are you doing? I'm like, I'm seeing hogs. You're driving? He's like, no, those are really hogs. Get back in the truck. It was actually like, he's like, you're going to get bored by a hog. But, come on. But honestly, it was, I saw an animal.
Is that all you got?
I saw an animal crossing the road, and I saw this lady. I know I saw this lady. And by the time I did let him drive at that point, because I was like, I'm going crazy. And then when we were driving, he goes, did you see that? And I was like, what? He's like, that little old lady with that Mexican blanket. That's literally what I had seen. And we're still like, I could see the observatory in her. That's how far, like, I hadn't even gotten that far from the observatory.
So it was fucking the person that was driving.
No, but he saw, like, the lady. He's like, look at that old lady. And I didn't see her when he said that. I didn't see her. So, and then when you say van, because in Fort Davis, we were at Fort Davis, and this happened with Corey. And you know, he's.
I was gonna say, didn't you and Corey have an experience out there too?
The listeners don't know our van part of the story.
Well, I'll tell you what happened, and then you can say what happened. This is actually in Fort Davis, so we had gotten there late, and it was freezing cold. It was like literally freezing. And I didn't realize there was still a burn ban, so I was just so cold. I was just so cold. I was like, dude, get our shit out. It was windy. I was like, we gotta build a fire. I was like, I don't care. Like, you're not supposed to do that when it's burn ban. So, but there was a huge moon. And you know, when you're out there in the middle of nowhere, it's like a full moon. It's like having a spotlight on you.
Okay.
So we were out there, we start the fire. Not 10 minutes later, we see a car coming. I'm like, dude, that's better than burn ban. I bet you that's a burn ban. I didn't look, got there so late. Well, as we were waiting for him to come, not trying to attempt to put out the fire because I needed to be warm for any amount of time I could, this lady comes like walking up to us, like out of nowhere, walks right up to me and Corey. And I'm like, whoa, where the fuck did she come from? But she looked like, when I thought about it, Corey's the one that mentioned it later. He's like, dude, why was she wearing that? And I was like, yeah, like she was dressed up like, almost like a hippie. Like she looked like a hippie.
They still exist.
No, but
No.
she was like a younger hippie. Like if she was like, why? I mean, but like hardcore.
Well,
Like,
we did see that one girl in Austin.
Some people.
yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. So that's why I guess we didn't think about it. So the park ranger comes up, and she's still standing there. She hadn't really said anything because they kind of got to our thing at the same time. So.
You're just like.
No, but we were, and he was like, well, you know, there's a burn ban, and she talked to him. She was like, can you give me a ride to the front of the park? And he just kept telling us about this burn ban, and Corey was like, dude, I was like, this is really rude, because this lady's like asking a question. I'm like, I don't even know where she came from, and so he's like, yeah, he's like, you know, you have to put it out, because if you don't put it out, you know, the guy's gonna come, and they're gonna give us a huge fine, it's like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, no, we're just cold or whatever. And the lady's like, I know, it's freezing out here. Can you just, and she had her stuff like in a satchel, like a plastic satchel almost. And she was like, I know, it's so cold out here. She's like, that's why I just need to ride to the front. And he was like, okay, well then we'll see you guys later, blah, blah, blah. And then, he's like, just make sure you put that out within the next few minutes. Cool. And then he leaves. And Corey has his old cop flashlight. He used to be a cop. So this is like a thing you can shine it into, like, you can see it in the mountains. It's like this crazy flashlight, like a blinding flashlight. And he was like, did that guy take that lady? And I was like, you know what? I don't even know if did he ever even talk to her? I was like, I didn't see. I was like, maybe she went around the back of the truck. Cause like after he left for a minute, I was like, he was like, where'd the lady go? And I was like, I don't know. And he was like, maybe he took her up front. I was like, you know what? I wasn't paying attention. I was like, I didn't see her get in the truck, but maybe she went around the side and got in. He was like, yeah. He was like, he was rude. He didn't even acknowledge her. I was like, I know, right? And then so we were just like, didn't even think about it. And he actually turns his flashlight on. It's like all the way down the road. You can see everyone else's stuff all the way this way and up where the mountain thing is. I was like, she went with him, no big deal. Like, and then I was like, let's just get in the tent. It's freezing. So you know, there's a bunch of pebbles all around, everywhere. So you can hear everybody walking. And so we're like laying there, and it's like quiet. We've been in there for a few minutes. As a matter of fact, he had just put his gun out. I was like, get your gun out. He's like, people know we're waiting. Okay. So he puts his gun out. And we're laying there, and I was so cold, like I'm in like laying on my arms, like just trying to get warm. And all of a sudden, a whole tent, bam, 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 like something is like beating the shit out of our tent. And Corey jumps up, he's like, who's there? I'm like, get your gun. And like he gets his gun, like he's pointing his gun, and it stopped. But like never once did we hear walking to or from our tent. Not once. And so we're laying there, and I'm like, getting like the chills. I'm like, dude, what was that? And he believes in nothing. Like the Bible, and that's it. If we hadn't read it in the Bible, it doesn't exist on this planet. You know, like, and so I was like, he was like, I don't know. And I was like, are you freaked out right now? He's like, what I'm thinking about is the fact that we never saw that lady leave. That guy never talked to that lady. We have no idea where she came from. We never heard her walking up, and now our tent just got here. And I'm like, that's one for the books. Like, explain it. Like, I don't know. I can't to this day.
That's nuts.
I can't. Ghosts. Mystery solved.
Like, if he was a believer in something like that,
He should have had a nice little. I know.
I mean, again, if I had had time to be there getting drunk or something, I would say we were just crazy. Both times I was sober. I don't know how to explain it. I can't explain it.
I remember you telling me about that.
Cause like
I have that fucking song by him. Mama's fallen angel. Because we're kind of falling.
I thought you were gonna say I saw her face and I was looking at it. Anyways, Darin, what was your deal with the band?
So when we got to Marfa, I feel like everybody noticed the van when we got there. But it was also cold. It was actually 25 degrees up there
I think it was kind of the same.
at midnight.
Nope.
And
Kind
we
of
were
the
out
same
there-
situation.
We were out there for 2 hours. And what?
Yeah, I feel like maybe because I was only looking at like my immediate surroundings, but then, like I kind of explained earlier, like when your mom sends you to get something, you can't find it, and then she opens the pantry door and the can of beans right there. Like all of a sudden, I noticed this van, and it felt like I hadn't seen it, I hadn't noticed it. I feel like I'm pretty good at noticing my surroundings and knowing what's going on, but it was like somebody just like dropped a van in front of me, and I was like, dude, that's a super creepy van. And it also looked kind of like hippie type, like it had a bunch of rugs. Like
You can see
around
the
it.
windows because it was covered with drugs and stuff.
And
When he pointed that out, in my head I was like yeah, bro, like, we saw the van earlier, it was there. But then I looked at it, I was like, is it closer than it was? But I mean, we were there for 2 hours, and we were just like, after that, we were just like, hey, I need to go to the restroom, so we would go in like too, because we're not trying to like
that buddy system.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. No.
So here's one beatboxing in the corner on the
Stop getting scared.
I gotta do something now. I'm not just gonna listen to you. And the acoustics now.
Well, since we're on, I guess,
Kind of.
sort of ghost
Yeah.
stories, they're more,
Just weird experiences.
yeah,
that
just
we
weird
had.
experiences. How about that one at Old Alibis
Yeah.
downtown?
That was so weird. Okay, so.
Who was part of that? Did you go there, Teresa?
No.
It was me, April, and I believe just Corey
And
at
Corey,
the time.
wasn't Brianna there? Because we had left Tony's.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brianna was there. Okay, so it was in the middle of the day. It was like 4 in the afternoon.
They just opened up.
Yeah, so it's,
Day drinking and
yeah,
it's
it's summertime. It's bright, sunny, and hot in that
I
bar.
live for.
Yeah, and we hadn't had any beer yet, so we're like, let's go to the bar. Let's go to Almost.
Tavern.
And so
fine. Get dehydrated.
we get there.
Hiya, Teresa.
Yeah, so right when we get there, I'm like, y'all know what I need to order. I'm going to the bathroom. So I go in the bathroom, and I'm there, and I look. I don't know why I noticed, in the stall next to me, I saw these like, I thought it was hilarious at the time, because I was like, who in the hell? I need to see this chick. Is wearing these like 1900, early 1900, turn of the century boots. Like
The
black.
high ones?
Yes, I could see the bottom of them though. They're like witch shoes. And I'm like, like, what kind of weirdo?
1900s cold.
Yeah, they want their boots back. Because I was like, what
She's
the?
like, actually, I love those boots.
Yeah, I need to ask her where she got them. No, so I'm like, okay.
Cold.
So like, I like get out of the stall, and I like before I left, I was like, okay, whatever, she's doing her business, but I'm gonna see who this is. Making sure I was like, I was trying to memorize
Girl, you
them.
taking a long poo.
No, I was trying to memorize them because I was like, when I go out there, I want to remember what they look like and find the chick that looks like I'm wearing them. So like, I wash my hands, and it's like nice and bright in there, like no big deal. And I come out and I tell Andrew, I'm like, dude, I'm like this chick in there, like, and I'm watching. We're sitting right outside the door, so like, I'm like, when she
If
comes.
somebody came out, you would have like definitely like.
Yeah, I'm watching.
The place is small.
So I'm
Like, you can't miss it when there's nobody else in there.
we were
You
the only
know,
ones. Like we
You're
were.
opening the door and you're bumping shoulders.
Yeah.
almost. I mean, seriously.
Yeah. Like
You're in the restroom right now.
Seriously.
Yeah, so we were like, and we were the only ones in there besides the bartenders. And so I was like, dude, when this chick comes out of the bathroom, like, check out her shoes. Oh, look, I need to know, like, what she's wearing. I was like, well, she's wearing like these old shoes, like whatever. And so we're like waiting. And I'm like, where is she? Like, what the hell? Did she like jump out the window or what? There's bars on the window. You can't jump out the window. I'm like joking. So I'm like, I'm gonna go back in there. I'm like, maybe she.
She thought you were funny.
No, yeah, and I was like, maybe she like maybe she's not okay because there's like homeless people. It's like it's in the Sunset Station.
Oh.
So I'm like,
That's wrong.
so well, I had no idea. So like I go in there and I'm like, there's nobody in there. And I was like, nobody came out, right? Because we've been staring at it like the whole time. And they're like, yeah, nobody came out. And so he's like, wait, what did you see again? And I was like really old timey boots, like somebody saw next to me. And then the bartenders was like, oh, you saw her. And I'm like, saw who? And they're like, we have that ghost here. People see that all the time. And I was like, what? I'm like, give me a shot.
What it was apparently this particular building used to be a brothel, and the light that they had in the back that was always on, it was they had it as a blue light because wasn't that what it was supposed to be?
Red
No.
Like this blue?
Well, the
Yeah,
first
like that
clue should have
blue.
been that April was attracted to hooker shoes.
The more of the story-
1900.
Because I love the prairie, and so like,
Yeah, she was like, oh my god.
Little House on the Prairie hooker
So
shoe.
that was like a normal thing?
Yeah, apparently. Andrew's like, tell her what you saw, and I was like, really old timey like boots, and I was
Because she had already, what's funny is the bartender had already told me about it. She had already told me about it, I mean, a while back. I knew about it. So when she said that, I was like, yeah, tell her what you saw.
Yeah, and I was like, there's no one in there. And they're like, yeah, that happens all the time with people. I see her all the time. And I'm like,
I can't imagine
I saw it like,
you knowing that now and going back and
I
seeing
wouldn't.
it.
No, I would
and
die.
the saw opens.
No. And the thing is,
Ooh.
it would be different if it was like transparent or something.
When you
though.
see like the lady from The Conjuring,
Just like the hair over
she,
the eyes.
you know which one I'm
Yes,
talking about?
Yeah, no, but the thing is, like I said, it would be funny if it was transparent or something, but I'm looking at them like,
The physical.
yeah, I'm like, I'm gonna
tangible.
see, yeah, and I'm like, I need to see who this chick is.
Hey, what if you were like, hey, girl, like nice shoes, you know?
Oh God,
Like, she
I am
answered you,
so
bro.
glad. Dude, don't
What?
ever give me those chills. Like, I'm so, now that you say that, thank God I didn't do
I'm
that.
gonna find you some boots.
You know what? Now that we're talking about this, if you ever go back and you ever go to the restroom, you're gonna see the boots and stuff and over the match.
No, I'm not, I'm never going back there.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
It's always things like now that you know what's going on. It's
What if when
like,
I was washing my hands, she was like right behind me?
What if you looked in the mirror and she was
Yeah, I
behind
got
you?
What if she was behind you that whole time?
What if she just left her boots at the bottom? All the way to her feet.
Yeah.
terrifying.
She's like, that's a perm. Just a
She
perm.
was just a bird.
Nice watch.
You need a job? Like, no? You want to work at our brothel? No.
You fit in nice here.
Yeah, so basically a ghost watch from Pete. So that's it. That's an
You
name.
should write a
Wait,
story.
beatbox to that?
The ghosts are into golden
Yeah,
showers.
to golden
I like gold and I like chocolate.
Yeah, so yeah, that was my weird.
Yeah, that was something I remember.
But the way everyone else was acting like it was all normal. They're like, you know, so you saw her? I'm like, oh,
I've never had. Not that I want to have one. It's just I've never had that experience.
I've never physically seen something. It's always been just like right after. I feel like, you know, but I mean, we've always seen something. I'm not sure.
Never seen anything.
Yet.
I mean, but you've seen like stuff move or.
Stuff move. I've never seen anything. I've never seen anything.
Are you saying that just because you don't want to see it?
No.
Come on, you've had experience of that. Mom's out here. So
So this is really weird that you're saying this because it sounds like you've experienced something. He hasn't. And I've had some stuff happen to me growing up. And every time something happened, I was alone. My parents were out of the house, and my brother was either with them or asleep. So I have stories of things happening, things moving, doors slamming, like, and honestly, like, no one else was there but the dog. And I think the dog was part of the creepy thing because he would start barking randomly.
They say the dog's sensitive.
My cat did when I lived on Mistletoe. Yeah, Cosmo is my favorite cat in the world. He was like my. You were little though, because that was before I had CV, like right when I had CV.
Your cat's the reason why I don't like cats.
I love Cosmo Kitten, and he was like a lovey cat. He was always inside.
Psycho, I like that.
And when we moved to Mistletoe, he would never come inside. He'd never been outside, and he wouldn't go inside. And then
That's terrible.
he would like hiss at the corners. And so we knew the people, our friends, Christian and Cindy and Carlos, matter of fact, knew the guy. They were renting his other house. So I remember asking him one time, I was like, he said, oh, what, your cat doesn't come inside? I was like, no, he normally does. I mean, well, he keeps hissing everything. And he's like, yeah, that lady that lived here was weird. And when we kicked her out, we had to pull all her little symbol things out of the corners. And that's where Cosmo was always hissing. He's like, I think she was into like voodoo. And I was like, cool.
Voodoo.
Yeah, and
You
so
said, cool.
It's called voodoo.
yeah, and
That's
then
really how they say it.
and then I could never put CV down there, but that ended up being like who's trying to do it. But then the weirdest thing that happened was we had like a stairwell, and then one night Steven, my ex-husband, would come home
Wait,
from work and
that's the first house y'all had.
yeah, but he couldn't come up the
The
stairs.
first house, yeah.
Yes, you had the restroom that had the sliding door.
Yeah.
I don't remember that house, but now that you say it,
She's
like, I'm
had
starting to like remember.
She had a bunch of things happen there.
Yeah, and then but it was weird because the cat was outside on the porch. We lived upstairs on the upstairs duplex. The house is over 100 years old, and there was like a skunk every like there was three skunks, each sitting in a corner on the stairwell, just sitting there. Skunks, like random. They weren't doing anything.
Like real stuff?
Yeah, like live skunks. And Steven couldn't get in the house because it was like 15 stairs, and every 5th step there was a skunk sitting on the right-hand corner of the stair. Like and the cat was like going crazy on my front porch, and I was like, "What is going on?" And Steven's outside. He's like, "I can't come in. There's skunks everywhere." I was like, "Cosmo's losing his shit." He's like, "Is it because of skunks?" I'm like, "I don't know. The baby won't quit crying. Like, and the cat's hissing, and then there's skunks on our stair. Bye." And so we literally left the next day. I was like, "I'm not living here anymore." Because so much weird stuff was happening in that house. And there was holes like everywhere in the walls, like where this lady had been, like, I guess, tacking up voodoo
Wait, is
stuff.
this a duplex?
On
Yeah,
Mistletoe.
the upstairs one.
Yeah.
On Mistletoe, yeah.
Y'all had, was this, I remember there was a room, when you walk in, it was straight back to the left. And I don't know, it had a whole bunch of Stevie's toys. I don't know if it was a toy or
I think it was his, like, nursery.
right?
Yeah.
I went in there one time, and I never went back in there. And
Denise-
I don't remember why.
Denise
Oh,
slept
super.
there one night, and she was like, I'm never sleeping in your house again. And I was like, why? And she's like, first of all, that room is way too cold, and that was the only room that would get cold. She's like, it's freezing. And she's like, and Stevie's toys, they just kept going off and moving around the room. And I was like, yeah, right, Denise.
For whatever reason, I don't remember. I was too little.
Oh, that.
So that we left. We literally were like, I'm not living here anymore.
That's right, it was very short lived.
Yeah, it was like super. And my cat ran away. And I
Unlike
never
the
saw him
ghost
again.
that lives there.
Do you have anything? I mean, that you'd like to share? Something that's kind of one?
Man, oh gosh, so I'm from the valley, closer to South Texas. I feel like that means El Valle. And there's like some stuff that goes down there, goes down there. That's just weird. I don't want to like give specifics because I feel like it's a really bad rabbit hole. But essentially, I found members that were messing around with stuff they shouldn't. And with that, whenever they would come over, I feel like things were weird.
I
It was
totally
almost like
agree.
And that's what that.
Yeah.
That's what they do, yeah.
and stuff. So like,
But you weren't like believing.
no, I didn't believe in any of that stuff. Like it was before I went to church. Like I didn't read the Bible. I was like,
You were just a kid.
I was just a kid. I was a teenage kid doing teenage kid stuff. And like I remember one time specifically, the way the house is like, we have a glass door, like in my kitchen and at least in the backyard. So we kind of have like a little hallway.
Is this the same house?
Yeah, same house. So in that little hallway, there's like a light, because it's our hallway light. And from that hallway light, they would give off like light to all the rooms, light up some of the kitchen. But if you're looking out the glass door, or towards the glass door, you can see a reflection, right?
Okay.
So one time I'm like watching TV in my parents' room for some reason. My brother's asleep, my parents are out, and out of nowhere the dog starts barking. It starts going crazy. I had a Saint Bernard, so he's this huge dog. He's going crazy. This isn't a little chihuahua. Like this dog is making a noise. He's knocking stuff over. And then I hear him yell, like something hurt this like 160-pound dog. And I freak out. So I'm like, whatever. He's being a dog. Probably hear something in the wall. Maybe there's like a rat. I don't know. I'm watching TV. When I hear him cry, I'm like, I've never heard my dog make that noise. So I get out of bed. I like jump up. I'm freaking out, and I immediately start thinking like, oh, the door's locked. Do I hear? You know, like you're.
Yeah, is it a
you start
person?
thinking
Because
it's
you don't
somebody's there.
assume it's something not.
Yeah, the first thing, your
natural.
first thought is somebody
Yeah.
actually being there, like,
Like
a
somebody moving.
human.
Do I hear steps?
Yeah.
And I see a 5-gallon. So we used to use like the 5-gallon waters. To get
Yeah.
We had 2, and we had like a little table set. The table set is like flipped over. We have a bench on the floor, and we have one of those 5-gallon water things like in the dining room now. And it's like it's like pushed up against the wall, and I'm like still standing still, trying to take like surveillance.
Yeah, like assess the situation.
Yeah, and my dog is fine now. He's just like, you know, like wagging his tail, like looking around, but he's fine. And I'm like, something literally like pushed this heavy 5-gallon thing, flipped over a bench, and made a mess from the table. So I'm like looking around. I'm still walking in the dark because I'm like, I don't really believe in this stuff. I'm not scared. Check the front door, locked. You know, I'm like, no one's been out the garage, it's locked. So I go towards the kitchen now, where you can see the reflection from the hallway light. And I go to check it, locked. And as I look up, I see the reflection basically of where the hallway is that goes into the rooms. And I see a figure that looks like I could touch it. Like it looks like a black shadow. You know those morph suits?
Yeah.
It literally looked like somebody was like in a morph suit inside my house. And when I looked up, holding the handle to the glass door, I froze because this, whatever this was, walks forward, stops where like my dining room, kitchen, and that hallway all intersect in the light. And I can see like this shadowy figure have nothing, it's just black. And it looks up and looks into like reflection as if it was looking at me through the reflection. And then it turned and walked down the hallway. My dog freaked out again, and then nothing else happened. So I called my parents and I'm like, something just happened. I have no clue, but all the doors were locked, and I think somebody somehow got in. And I'm still not believing it.
Right, because you sound crazy.
Yeah,
like,
it
you
sounds-
Yeah, you don't want to tell your
Right.
parents, like, I saw this thing,
Yeah.
and it, you know, like, explain that story. And, yeah.
And it sounds wild, even now me telling it, I'm like, that's wild, but things like that would happen where like the dog and me would somehow get like cornered, and like lights would turn off, the TVs would turn on. One time I was using the restroom. Honest, I'm sitting on the toilet looking at the door, right? And I'm just like on my phone. And then out of nowhere, like out of the corner of my eye, I see like a shadow, like somebody standing at the foot of the door. And then you hear it like try to shake like the
The
doorknob.
handle.
Nope.
And it's locked. I locked the restroom. Just out of habit, you know. You close the
Yeah.
door, lock it, do your business. The handle was locked, and it like you hear it like shake like the doorknob, and this figure or whatever, this shadow like moves. I don't hear a step. We got like tile, you know, like I don't hear anything. And my dog starts barking, goes crazy. And I get out of the restroom, did the same thing, checked all the doors, nobody came in. And my parents were gone, my brother was asleep. And I literally like turn on the light, watch TV in the living room. It was like, well, you know, I don't know. But my brother was asleep. My parents were out. So anytime things happened, I was by myself. And it was really tough to tell these stories because I was like, someone could be like, oh, Juan wants attention.
Yeah,
You scared the dog.
Well, it's kind of funny because Teresa and I said this last week to her before I started researching some of the phenomenon with, UFOs or whatever you want to call them. And she said, I think I'm getting tired. I'm tired. It's funny how you see like alien stuff everywhere now. And I was like, you know what though, Teresa? I said, I think it's because there's for so long, like like even in movies or like I said, I pointed out Men in Black. I was like, not Men in Black, Independence Day. I said the guy that believed, the guy that believed in he had been abducted or whatever and tried to tell his stories was crazy. So there was always like a stigma to people that believed in things that were unexplainable. They were always kind of like these nutcases in popular culture and all that sort of thing. I was like, so, and I feel like it's, and then when I was watching that documentary, they were saying they were surprised at the 2008 sightings, how many people came forward, and they made it a point to say even our most upstanding citizens came forward to say they had seen something.
Wow.
And the guy that was like the sheriff was like, I saw something. He goes, and I didn't want
in the land.
I didn't want to say anything. He's like, because there's always a stigma behind the people that believe in this sort of thing. And I was like, I literally just told my sister that. And I think it's kind of the same thing with saying that you believe in things like this as well, because it's like 99.9% of people maybe don't have that happen to them, or if it does happen to them, they write it off because they don't want it to be like having to explain to people, oh, this very odd thing happened to me, and I don't want to say it because if I say it, then I sound crazy. Because we always put that like on people, And I'm here to say, if you believe, you better write us your stories on Instagram.
That's true. I would like to see them on social media somewhere.
Yeah. If anybody has stories y'all want to tell, I mean, we can get you to call us.
Yeah.
We can do whatever. Let's figure this out. If y'all want to tell y'all's creepy ghost stories. I mean,
or unexplainable
experiences.
Because we don't really know what that is. We're calling them ghosts. We're calling them.
And we say UFOs. I mean, it could be anything, honestly.
Yeah.
But this is.
I'm gonna do research next time for. I want to talk about that village in Alaska. That the grave sites.
We'll give you a little more UFO action.
I want to next time. Okay, we'll do. And there's some cool cryptid stuff in the state of Texas that I think we should go on. And Teresa, I was telling you about the guy. I think that you would like, and I found him pretty cool guy. Cool history on this guy. His name was Tom Slit. They actually called him. His first nickname was Dry Hole Tom because he was actually an oil billionaire. He was really bad at finding good oil.
Dry Hole Tom.
Yeah.
What a dry.
But he is a badass Hall of Famer. He's a Texas millionaire who convinced Jimmy Stewart to smuggle Yeti bones into America. He is from Texas. Well, he's not from Texas, but he was a Texas millionaire. He has a really cool history with cryptids. There's a book on him, Tom Slick, True Life Encounters in Cryptozoology. He actually got the San Antonio Zoo back in the 1940s and 50s to sponsor his trip into getting some bones from the Himalayas.
That'd be next time?
That'll be next time.
That's a good name, Tom Slit.
Tom Slit. It's in Nepal. They had just changed laws and they had to get some paperwork done. And the San Antonio Zoo backed a Yeti trip. Our own zoo. Yeah. So some cool stuff there with cryptozoology here in the state of Texas. A little more history. History scares you. I'm the witch that's going to tell you all scary, creepy history stories.
But check the Instagram, OtherSide, SATX.
And Juan, you're more than welcome to join us on this rest of this trip into
Yeah, we still got a couple more episodes.
Yeah, tell some more stories
in this October series. I'm sure it sounds like you got some good stuff.
Yeah, that's right.
I know it's kind of.
Yeah, it's like it's always tough to do. Like, I don't want to share too much.
Yeah.
And like we talked about UFOs and going to the restroom, so
Yeah.
the restroom.
We're all family here.
There's nothing. There's pretty much nothing you can't say here.
Yeah.
Ghosts. So Teresa probably has some more encounters with up the. What is it? Fourth time? Third time?
Fifth time.
Sixth,
Yeah.
seventh, eighth. That she
The
wants
Teresa
to-
kind.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
Teresa kind.
Yep. So.
Alright guys, thank y'all for joining
Thank you
us.
for joining us. Check us out on our Instagram at
OtherSide, SATX. I think, I don't know. Just look for the Other Side
and we've
podcast.
got the video. We'll link it to our Facebook page because I know our YouTube is kind of hard to find. So
Look for the new video. Look under the Other Side podcast. You should be able to find it.
or
I'll put the link up out here on our Facebook. Thank you again for joining us on the Other Side.
Yeah, it's fucking hot as shit over here. Yeah. Alright. That was really hot. It's kind of hot over here. No, but I gotta go. It's like 11.
Yeah, it's gonna be.
How long is it?
I don't know. I can't tell. I'll be able to tell here in a second. I'm gonna upload this crap.
My scroll chop didn't work. You should have went to shoot him.
Shoot him. Just be careful because I don't know
I'm
if
lying, I'm not
that's
gonna shoot
if that's
him.
gonna ricochet.
It will. It's only a hangover video.
That's rowdy. Yeah, dude.
That's some crazy shit, man. Seriously, that's some fucking crazy ass shit.
Dude, I gotta be honest. I could tell you something, but I just don't know. It's kind of like opinion, but it's also kind of like from my understanding. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, off the record.
Yeah, it's not normal.
So, Greek and Roman mythology would worship people who would be the protector of travelers, warriors, like Ares was a god of war.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, if you're a warrior, you like love him or you protected whatever. And we have like India that has like thousands and thousands of gods to the point where it's like you could have a household and each person in that 10-person household could worship 100 gods and nobody could worship one that didn't lapse. But Mexico, deep down in Mexico, unfortunately has this problem with worshiping local medicine men and women.
Dude, your daughter scared the crap out of me.
Hold on.
So worshiping like local women and men who are like medicine men or claim to be like spiritual. The only problem is a lot of the time they don't claim to be like loving God, and sometimes they're just like, I do this and I do that.
I've seen that one where it's almost like a Grim Reaper.
So that's what I want to talk about, and it's really scary. But
I've heard what I saw on it. I watched the Dark Tourist. That guy.
I remember
that looks like
seeing
Darin.
the guy, he was like an assassin or something like that. What are you talking about? There was a guy that...
No, he's a journalist, but he's going all over the world to all these like oddball places, and he went to Mexico, and he went and looking into some of that stuff, and he actually met with a medicine woman, and it's crazy.
So the problem is people like Darin. Darin's a local guy in San Antonio. Everybody trusts him. All of a sudden, we start like worshiping Darin. We start praying Darin. We put his face on a candle, and then because of like,
No, go ahead.
but because of like the way the Catholic faith is and how these Mexican cities have like almost twisted it, we start putting Darin up for sainthood, and we don't even know who he is. what he's done, or if he's really a Christian or loves God, or, you know, Catholic.
So it's like, basically they like what he's saying.
What he does, and it almost becomes like, oh, Darin is the patron saint of San Antonio. Almost like Greek and Roman mythology, where Ares was a god of war and warriors and things like that. So it gets to the point where people start worshiping and praying to people that could have been evil, that could have been doing wrong, could have been messing with like dark spiritual things. And that Grim Reaper has a name.
I forgot what it was.
Yeah, I prefer not to like say.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
But people pray to it because they think it's like a saint, and it's like literally like a demon. To the point where people have like altars for it, and it'll have like a hand
Offering.
and it'll like ask for alcohol and cigarettes, and the cigarettes will like finish themselves, and the alcohol will disappear. And the thing of it is like because of when you enter like a contract and you pray to her, or whatever you want to say, it's like a bargain. She's like, you want money? I'm gonna give you a successful business, job, opportunity, but I want.
That's
this.
why a lot of the like cartel and that kind of stuff. That was one thing that's weird you say that, because when I was I was helping a friend of mine. He's got a contract working for the Border Patrol.
Yeah.
And they had a sign.
The security guy?
Yeah, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
They had a sign that said some of the patrons that I guess the migrants worship, or like gangs and stuff like that. And it actually had a couple of those different, and it was just like, what the hell? Yeah, it was just really wild, like really wild.
It's like literally a demon. And the thing that is like, if you don't give it what it wants in return for what you asked, it takes it away. And we've seen people like houses in the valley have like, that's like its statue in the front lawn, and it's like big house, lots of nice cars, and then like
And that's what it is. It's like making a deal with the devil.
It literally is.
I mean, that's exactly what it is.
And then we've seen people like disappear, like all of a sudden they're just gone. And we have no clue, like no one knew them, but the statue's gone, the house is empty, cars are gone,
Holy shit.
lights are off, like, and things like that happen where people are like, oh, I'm gonna pray to my saint like Darin, and I'm like, dude, you don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
Like, you don't know what you're worshiping right now. And you don't pray to God or Jesus, you're praying to this guy that claims to have healed people in Julian, Mexico or something.
It's true though,
It's
like,
true though, yeah.
And it's, dude, it's right. It's like literally like wicked, and it's like, yeah.
yeah, that's fucking nuts.
You ready to go, Ken?
Let's do it, boy.